Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of my Ascension messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I am a channeler and a seer. Today, because I channeled through something last week and I typed it all up and then I put it on my website. I've been doing that a bit just recently. These like massive downloads are coming through. But I wanted to discuss it on YouTube as well. So this discussion is about my last and latest channel message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a bit of it because it's already channeled and written down, and then I'll have a discussion about it and let's go from there, right? So babies are born innocent because a baby is a soul coming straight from the world of energy or light and is born into a body that is still growing or forming in the physical world. Therefore, the soul is love of self, or in essence, God, source energy, deciding to take a journey through a denser separated existence, that of the physical world. Therefore, they have to still learn the program or limitations of the physical world, trusting their families or their physical families to guide them. So most of us, because we're coming from logic, when a baby is born, they're still in these two different worlds. They're still in one in the etheric world where they still play out certain meetings and that with etheric beings, because it's still a soul. Just because it's a baby doesn't mean that the soul is a baby. The soul itself is wise. It's all knowing of what's happened to it in previous lives and so forth down the journey. But a soul has to understand or comprehend the reality or program that it's coming into, the body that it's coming into. And if that soul is been here one time after another and been trapped, then as soon as they're born into a body, they kind of bring in those neuron paths or those feelings, those decision-making understandings of what this physical world is about from the past life that they've been on. So if they were tortured, persecuted, been in wars, all that sort of thing, then these emotions can still come up due to the fact that the soul remembers whenever they were in that reality or that program, especially if they've been caught life after life, then they hold on to that perceived idea of what they're coming into, because they're now back in the physical form, and physical form as a human comes with logical program, and the logical program has been given too much reign, and so along with the humans or the parents that they've been born into, who keep that program running anyway, they get ignited by these issues or problems. They can be ignited by issues or problems that's happened in past lives, even though it isn't really present in the immediate moment that they're living. So but as babies, we are taught this physical world or the acceptance of what this physical world gives us by our parents. And the strange thing is, we think that time is linear, right? But in the world of energy or soul, time is not linear. So that soul could have jumped from one life in 1900 back to, before pre-Christ or something, and then back up to, and so they jump all over the show, depending on what lesson they wanted to learn, what vibration they wanted to go through to expand out of, or give them a chance to expand out of a core program. Yeah. There was another message that was coming through there, and it just slipped me as I was talking. I'll see if it comes up later. But when that program is held hostage by a fear-based program extended through humanity by those who are trying to gain power by holding the majority in that fear, the soul which has been denied access to loving oneself life after life, but is still in the purest essence love, will never be able to acknowledge itself as a soul through the fear-based program, because fear and love are opposing, are totally different ends of the spectrum of intense focus. Limiting humanity's experience to that of warring within oneself and feelings of guilt, repression, and victimization. So because of the program that's been held over humanity, and it was supposed to be that way, those that are perpetrators in our reality, trying to controlling fractions and that sort of thing, it was all meant to be that way so that we could learn more and more and more about how far we can go with our logic and grounding our reality on Gaia, or how we ground our reality on Gaia, what fear actually drives us into a self-consuming reality that we're not happy with, and then our souls want to leave, or the touch on love and feeling good about oneself. And then when you feel good about yourself, your universe, your outside reality becomes that feeling of feeling good too, because it naturally meets each other in that vibrational meet, because there is no separation from our outside world to our inner world. This is a reflection of not recognizing one as love. Therefore, only grounding confusion and overprotection, which creates the very fear one would be held hostage to by those already coming from the same fear of feeling weak unless they can control their outside reality by inflicting more fear on others. And so the cycle is complete, and the fear-based reality created for humanity to live through. So if we didn't go to the rock bottom of where that fear can take us, and then we will always be dipping and diving into it. But if we have that real, okay, that's as far as I want to go. And this is what humanity's consciousness has just gone through. They've gone through the pinnacle of, you know what, that's as far as we want to go. If we want to still respect, or not respect, allow humanity's physical vibration to be in existence, and our souls play a part in through the bodies of the physical, if we want to do that, then we have to get to a point where the pain becomes so bad that we just go, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. And then we start to all realize how far or deep or dark we went with that self-consuming fear program. And then we start to see where that program has come from, and that's our outside world, and where we've given our power away to. So at first, when you first wake up, you'll be seeing people that have been attacking you, and the first thing you do, because you're naturally inclined to, because this is all you've ever known, is to attack those that are coming from outside you. But then you realize whenever you attack them, you fuel them, they become bigger, they become that their story, their reality becomes more, because you're literally magnetizing that story towards you. And then when you realize that, and you start to play with hang on a sec, maybe I shouldn't be focused in on this, maybe I should be focused in on how much I love me. And when you turn it around to that and see yourself in the light of feeling like you are empowered, you are source energy, you are a soul, you are allowed to be because you exist here. That is the reason why you are here. And you should, with your own imagination, be able to stretch your limits outside of the contained logical box, which would only ever bring you into circles anyway. So it's all about stepping outside the program. The soul is born into this world through a baby, and then that baby, even the body of the baby, has to grow into this world. And as it grows into this world, it starts to let go of what the soul's connection, because the program was to do that. But if we decided, no, we're no longer doing that, we're bringing in the soul now and the soul's work, then our acknowledgement of that would have to be through self-love, because the soul is love. It just is love. It is love going on a journey. So when you start to acknowledge yourself as love going on a journey, and it's up to you, what you decide, how you feel. Nobody else can be in your mind but you. Nobody else can feel the feelings of what you feel but you. And when you feel those feelings, you could have two different people in exactly the same room. One feels self-love, one loves themselves, and the other one hates everyone and everything because they don't feel in control of themselves and they don't like who they are, and the inner core, because they feel ugly and they're scared that everybody else is ugly as well. Then when these two people meet, this one will always think that even the best ones would be a mirror reflection. They'll think that they're just as bad as what they're thinking. And the best ones will see as an observer that coming from love, they will have an understanding of the one that is lacking in their own self-control and self-awareness, and they'll have an understanding of being an observer. So then this person holding their light will be like a shining example of where this person can go, or this person will just not want to have anything to do with this person anymore because they can't feel off them their own negative vibration that they're trying to confirm to themselves exists. And we are all confirming our existence through how we feel. I hope that makes a bit of sense. I'm trying to follow their line or their train of understanding of this and bringing it into an English format so that you could have some sort of bearing or understanding where they're taking me with this channeled message. Because of this, there are those souls born so many times into the fear-based program, it becomes confused, and then they find themselves stuck or lingering in between the material world and the energetic dimensions of when they leave this body. This is because they have the inability to acknowledge themselves as love when they depart this physical reality. This place in between the living and the dead is where many reside as a fourth dimensional aspect of self, and a state of confusion as to what's real to the soul and what's illusion, causing the soul to self-perpetuate the physical world as the only world that exists, and therefore becoming entangled in the frequency of the living without a physical body, or what most people would see as ghosts. So then bringing the ghost subject up because this has happened due to that confusion of living life after life after life and trying to control everything outside of themselves, not recognizing themselves as the soul, as the energy that can shift the vibration whenever they decide to love themselves fully and accept their journey for what it's been. Then when they leave this world, they might leave in a traumatic experience, which has already been experienced in other lives as well. And they think that that's the only existence now. Their soul is literally losing its understanding of what's real and what's not. And so soul is very powerful. Whatever it focuses in on, it can create. And so if you've left the physical world, but you're still as a soul creating a physical existence, then you aren't here in the physical world, but you are still reliving the expectation of what reality is. And so you're caught in this loop of finding yourself caught in the same story as what you were when you were alive, over and over, and repeating and repeating and repeating. That is until that soul starts to recognize himself as love again. And then that's when they start to see that the light shining more, that there's something beautiful or a beautiful feeling on the other side of the veil of themselves. And that's them returning back to an understanding that they aren't the program that they were living. They were just going on a journey through the program. So ghosts more to do with souls that need to forgive themselves of how they created their reality, even if they are caught in a matrix or a pattern that they're blaming somebody else outside themselves. The only way that they can get themselves out is to forgive themselves for putting themselves in that situation to begin with. And that's what it ends up returning back to, forgiveness of self, and the game that they were playing out, and seeing it as just an illusional story that the soul wanted to take and see how far they could push it without losing themselves. But they do lose themselves, so they get caught in that problem. But a soul that has gone through the cycle of returning back to source energy or love of self is born from the purest of energies, that of its true nature, love. As love is the understanding that all is one source energy moving through the physical body as a way of a journey into the programmable physical world. Each and every program, meaning physical life and all aspects of what we call the living, we're talking animals, plants, everything, holds different limitations and wisdom to carry out that life, creating many different species. Every soul entering that species would already be in a vibrational meet of that plant, animal, or in the case of a human. So for us to expand our consciousness into something beyond being human in this limited world, we have to start to use our imagination to be able to see ourselves as more than what is already existing in our reality. That is expansion. If we keep replaying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that is the sign of pretty much losing yourself, of madness. Yeah, they wanted to bring that up because it's not every soul that becomes a ghost, right? Many souls don't. Most souls don't. Most souls do have understanding of when they leave this physical world, they feel freer. They actually feel lighter because they're not in the program anymore. And the program is held by the logical mind of and the physical world of what's accepted and what's not while we're here playing out this game. So when we allow ourselves to fall into love of self, which is leaving that program with the body, with that, but still learning the lessons, the valuable lessons on how to ground things in this reality, this physical reality, we can return back to our natural state, which is just love, and then choose a different decision on whether we want to be born through humanity's consciousness, another awareness, or have a break, or whatever we want to do. And there is just unlimited choices to choose whichever way they want to go in the next life. But usually there is the soul wanting to expand itself, and so it will, if it's caught in some sort of loophole while being in the physical world, it needs to come back into that physical existence again with the same issues because it hasn't figured out a way while being grounded on earth to get out of it. So we return back into the family dynamics. That was what I was going to say about before. So the family dynamics, we tend to stick with the same pattern of souls going on similar journey, tend to, not always, because they have a link or a connection to each other through either love or fear-based stories that have been played out in the past lives that they've had together. So if they learn to forgive the other person and then realize that they have to forgive themselves for putting themselves in that position to begin with that person, and that their understanding of how their energy brought them into the problem as well, then they release that problem, and then they can realize that we are all love, and that the person that they are opposing was love as well, and they were just pushing them out of the fear-based program by challenging them as to how deep you wanted to go together, because you'll only go to a certain point of losing yourself, because you can't lose yourself as love. You can't completely, not 100% lose yourself as who you already are in existence, which is love. So you'll push yourself to a limit of consuming the programmable reality, but soul still lives on, and then you'll have to relive that life somewhere else on another planet or something else to be able to still come to the same fruition of when you're in the story, in the physical story, you have to still see that it's to do with forgiveness of self and putting yourself in that story to begin with. Okay. As humanity called out for help over the last century because the reality started to see signs of consuming itself, this gave out to an energetic invite to those born straight from higher awareness of self, never having experienced life after life caught in what many call the fear-based matrix. They have a stronger understanding of who they are without the victimized program infiltrating their consciousness. They then needed to believe so much in love or this in their soul that they could carve a new path for humanity to follow. But even those born from higher planes of existence into this denser frequency would still have to go through the initiation period of trusting their physical family they were born into to help guide them into what's acceptable and what's not. Then they would have to choose whether to believe in their own knowing that comes from their intuition or soul, or what their physical family said. This initiation can cause some confliction in their life path, as those who are caught within the matrix, just the same as those people who are caught within the matrix. But many who have come straight from higher dimensions also have outside the box experiences, which comes from their awareness of their soul to help shift them out of the fear and back into carving a path of love. They will still have to be convinced enough, though, through such experiences to choose love of self over the fear of others. These people have been born with specific missions and give themselves signposts to awaken themselves to their soul throughout their life. They are the ones who can guide many through becoming the leading example of what it's like to lead themselves out of a fear-based program. There are many born now with such understanding of their soul and their mission, and it is now time for them to lead by example. So because of that, humanity called out for help over the last century because we were so self-consumed with our outside reality and never looking inside ourselves. So the only way that we could do that is to start to seek help outside ourselves, and the screaming for help literally ignited our energies coming back at us for ourselves to guide ourselves out of this limited program. And before we were born, then we decided to put up signposts. Signposts are like repeating numbers, or having guides that were in the etheric world, or those that were staying in the etheric world to give you messages or dreams or something like that. Signposts through this life now to pull ourselves out. And this is the biggest mass awakening for a long time. And we have had many awakenings, but this is one of the biggest ones for a long time. We have upped the frequency of expanding one's reality through the cry or the call for us to understand more. And so it is, and so it ended up being that vibrational meet allowed these beautiful souls coming straight from higher dimensions into this reality. And then they kind of seeped through different family bloodlines. Each family also held certain codes or something to have an understanding of their soul. This so-called black sheep that would have been born into the family would have ignited that even more. It's just so that they don't keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. Literally being caught in a maze where they don't know how to get out of it. So what they showed me when I first realized this when I first realized that I was one of the ones that was here to help, they showed me me climbing up a hill with everybody else, struggling just like everybody else. But when we got to the top of this mountain, there was a maze in front of us, and they all looked at me and said, "You'll be leading us through the maze." And that was me waking myself up to my mission when I was 19. And what I always see is that I had to go through the maze and then remember how to get back out again. So when I was 27, I was contacted by my guides, who then led me to a gold bracelet, digging up a gold bracelet at a beach, which got my attention. So this is all getting my attention. And then they ended up training me on how to use my mind, how to retrain my mind, how to ignore the old program, how to find out who I was, that sort of thing. Then they took off the training wheels, left me to my own devices. It took friggin' another couple of decades for me to get back to this peaceful understanding of taking my power back and not giving it out to somebody else. But through that journey of going up and down like that, I started to see the understandings of how to get myself out of a program that wasn't serving me, that was self-sabotaging me. And in reflection, seeing my reality self-sabotage me as well, where I end up amongst people that were hurtful, that tried to didn't treat me with any respect whatsoever, because they never could treat themselves with any respect. So they just assumed that everyone should be treated the same way as they were treating themselves. So yeah, this is how we are slowly getting ourselves out of the matrix. And that's why I started the classrooms, so that we could have something, a Zoom class every fortnight, and then we could have something that I could gift to you guys to work on throughout the next fortnight, so that we can use the energies that are coming at us at the moment, which are constantly changing at the moment. We're in this flux, we're in this, wow, what do we really want to be? Who do we really want to be? And where are we going to go with this? How are we going to burst through, not even move out of the, or find our path out of the maze, but literally see ourselves above the maze so that we can see the right way to get out, or completely annihilate the maze, that it doesn't even exist, because we are coming back to realizing we're source energy going on a journey, and we can choose whatever journey we like. So I hope that this helps a little bit more, guys. I know I'm just getting so much messages, so many messages at the moment. I'm also thinking of doing more lives, and definitely still doing just for fun. I do tarots on Tuesday morning and the live chat bar opening, so that I can do some free channeling and tarot reading for those that come on board for that. I like to do something for free as well. I know where I'm going already. I have an understanding of who I am and how far I can go or want to go in this world to help you guys, and just be a guide and be a leading example. That's the most important thing for me. I don't want to stand up in front of an audience and say something that I haven't gone through, so that I have to have already gone through it for me to really comprehend and be able to explain it to you. And then when my team comes in to channel all these messages and give me even more awareness of all of this, I have an understanding, because they've already shown me the path in my past of how I changed reality just by taking my power back and deciding no to that story. And if all of humanity does this, we can easily become more than what the program was, because it's a fear-based program, and fear only consumes oneself, where love expands into completely new arenas. Love you guys heaps. Until next time. Bye.